For decades, rumours have persisted about one of the most controversial and mysterious chapters of World War II, the alleged Nazi UFO program. Stories of disc-shaped aircraft, anti-gravity technology, and secret bases hidden in the mountains have captivated conspiracy theorists and historians alike. But how much of this is based on fact and how much is pure fiction? Today we're diving deep into the shadows of history to separate truth from myth. The story of Nazi UFOs didn't begin during World War II. It started in the years following Germany's defeat. In the late 1940s and early 1950s, as UFO sightings exploded across America and Europe, some began to connect these mysterious craft with Nazi Germany's advanced aerospace research. Authors, fringe scientists, and former intelligence operatives started claiming that the Third Reich had developed revolutionary disc-shaped aircraft that could be the explanation for modern UFO sightings. Italian author Renato Vesco was one of the first to popularize these claims in his 1968 book Intercept UFO. He argued that many UFO sightings could be explained by secret Nazi weapons that were captured and developed further by Allied powers after the war. Soon, other writers like Ernst Zundel and Vladimir Terziski expanded on these theories, adding increasingly fantastical elements to the narrative. According to these accounts, the Nazis had developed several types of disc-shaped aircraft with exotic names: the Haunebu series, the Vril craft, and the mysterious Die Glock or the Bell. These weren't just experimental planes, they were supposedly powered by revolutionary, anti-gravity technology that would have given Germany air superiority if only they had been deployed in time. The legend grew to include secret underground facilities, hidden laboratories in the Czech mountains, and mysterious research programs with occult connections. Some versions of the story even claimed that Nazi scientists, facing defeat, escaped to secret bases in Antarctica or South America, where they continued their work on these advanced craft. To understand the truth behind these claims, we need to look at what Nazi Germany actually achieved in aerospace technology. And there's no denying it. German engineers were at the forefront of aviation development during World War II. They created the world's first operational jet fighter, the Messerschmitt Me 262, developed revolutionary rocket technology with the V-2, and experimented with numerous unconventional aircraft designs. German aerospace engineers, led by figures like Wernher von Braun and the Horten brothers, pushed the boundaries of what was possible. The Horten Ho 229, for example, was a jet-powered flying wing that looked remarkably futuristic for its time. With its swept-back design and lack of a traditional fuselage, it could be mistaken for something otherworldly in the right light. Germany also experimented with unusual aircraft configurations. There were designs for vertical takeoff planes, circular wing aircraft, and rocket-powered interceptors. Some of these projects had disc-like or saucer-like elements in their design. But here's the crucial point. Experimental designs and functional anti-gravity craft are worlds apart. After the war, the United States and Soviet Union scrambled to capture German scientists and their research in Operation Paperclip and similar programs. Wernher von Braun and thousands of other German engineers were brought to America, where their expertise would eventually help put men on the moon. If the Nazis had developed functional anti-gravity technology, or flying saucers, you'd think this would have been the crown jewel of captured German science. Yet in all the thousands of pages of declassified documents from Operation Paperclip, there's no mention of recovered flying saucer technology or anti-gravity propulsion systems. What the Allies did find was impressive but conventional aerospace technology, rocket engines, jet turbines, and advanced aerodynamic designs. nothing that defied the laws of physics as we understood them. Let's examine the specific craft that appear most frequently in Nazi UFO mythology, starting with the Haunebu series. According to conspiracy theorists, these were large disc-shaped craft powered by a Thule tachyonator or similar exotic propulsion system. The Haunebu 2, they claim, was 40 feet in diameter and could achieve incredible speeds. The problem? There's absolutely no contemporary evidence these craft ever existed. No blueprints, no photographs, no credible witness testimony from the war itself. The first mentions of the Haunebu appear in books written decades after the war, with no verifiable sources. The technical diagrams that circulate online were created by modern graphic artists, not Nazi engineers. The Vril craft are supposedly connected to the Vril Society, a secretive, occult group that allegedly influenced Nazi leadership. According to the mythology, they channeled information about advanced technology from alien beings or ancient Atlantean sources. The Vril 7 was supposedly a small scout craft that could carry 1 or 2 people. While it's true that some Nazi leaders had interests in occultism, and there were various mystical societies in 1920s Germany, the Vril Society, as described in UFO literature, is largely a fabrication. The name comes from a 19th century science fiction novel, The Coming Race, by Edward Bulwer Lytton, which featured a powerful energy source called Vril. There's no credible evidence of a Vril Society building aircraft. Perhaps the most intriguing claim is Die Glock, the bell. According to Polish writer Igor Witkowski, this was a secret Nazi device, bell-shaped and 9 feet wide, that was involved in anti-gravity experiments. The project was supposedly so secret that witnesses were executed to maintain security. Die Glock has been featured in numerous documentaries and has captured the public imagination. The evidence for Die Glock primarily comes from Witkowski's interviews with an anonymous former Polish intelligence officer. The physical evidence often cited is a concrete structure in Poland that some claim was a test rig for the device. However, historians and engineers who have examined this structure believe it was most likely a conventional industrial cooling tower. What makes the Die Glock story particularly problematic is the lack of documentation. Nazi Germany was meticulous in keeping records. We have detailed documentation of even their most secret weapons programs, like the V-2 rocket and atomic research. Yet for something as revolutionary as anti-gravity technology, there are no period documents, no budget allocations, no factory records, and no credible witness accounts from the time. When we compare documented Nazi aerospace projects with the alleged UFO craft, a pattern emerges. The real projects, however unconventional, were based on engineering principles that made sense. They had prototypes, test flights with documented results, and paper trails. The alleged UFO projects have none of this, only stories that emerged decades after the war. So if the evidence is so thin, why do these stories persist? Why have Nazi UFOs become such a fixture in popular culture and conspiracy theory circles? The answer lies in psychology, post-war anxieties, and the blending of historical fact with science fiction. The Nazi UFO myth emerged during the Cold War, when both superpowers were developing increasingly advanced technology, and the public was being told that enemies might possess weapons beyond imagination. In this atmosphere of paranoia and rapid technological change, the idea that the Nazis had nearly achieved technological supremacy seemed plausible. There's also a kernel of truth that makes the story believable. Nazi Germany did produce revolutionary technology. They did have secret weapons programs. They were ahead in several areas of aerospace development. When you know this historical context, it's not a huge leap to wonder what else they might have been working on in secret. pop culture has played a massive role in keeping these myths alive. From Indiana Jones to Hellboy, from X-Files episodes to countless documentaries on cable television, Nazi occultism and secret superweapons have become a staple of entertainment. Each retelling adds new details, making the story more elaborate and, in some minds, more convincing. The Internet age has supercharged these myths. Computer-generated images of Nazi UFOs, presented without context, look authentic at first glance. Amateur historians mix facts with speculation, creating compelling narratives that blur the line between documented history and imagination. Confirmation bias leads believers to seek out information that supports their theories while dismissing contradictory evidence. There's also a psychological appeal to the idea that UFOs have a human origin rather than an alien one. For some, it's more comfortable to believe that mysterious aircraft are secret military projects than to accept the possibility of extraterrestrial visitors, or to admit that most UFO sightings have conventional explanations. While Nazi UFOs are fiction, the real legacy of Nazi aerospace research is profound and undeniable. The German scientists who came to America and the Soviet Union after the war fundamentally shaped the space age and modern aviation. Wernher von Braun, the man behind the V-2 rocket, became the chief architect of the Saturn V that took humans to the moon. The principles of rocket science that his team developed at Peenemünde became the foundation of all modern space exploration. This is the real Nazi aerospace legacy, not flying saucers, but the basic technology that opened space to human exploration. German jet engine technology, particularly the Junkers Jumo 004, used in the Me-262, influenced post-war jet development in both the East and West. The swept-wing designs that German aerodynamicists developed became standard in high-speed aircraft. These real achievements were revolutionary enough without needing to invent anti-gravity propulsion. Perhaps most importantly, German aerodynamic research and testing methods advanced the entire field of aerospace engineering. Their systematic approach to high-speed flight, their wind tunnel innovations, and their theoretical work on supersonic flight helped create the modern aerospace industry. The irony is that the real Nazi aerospace achievements are more impressive than the mythical ones. Taking humanity from the first practical rockets to landing on the moon in just over 2 decades is more remarkable than any alleged flying saucer. The difference is that one is real, documented, and changed human history, while the other exists only in speculation and imagination. So the Nazi UFO program, truth or myth? The evidence overwhelmingly points to myth. There are no credible contemporary documents, no physical artifacts, no verifiable witnesses from the war period itself. The stories emerge decades after the fact, from sources with questionable credibility, often mixing science fiction with scattered historical facts. What is true is that Nazi Germany pursued advanced aerospace research and achieved real breakthroughs in rocket and jet technology. These achievements were impressive and historically significant, but they were based on known physics and engineering principles, not mysterious anti-gravity forces or occult knowledge. The lesson here is about the importance of evidence and critical thinking. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. When someone claims the Nazis had flying saucers, we should ask, where are the blueprints? Where are the factories where they were built? Where are the test flight records? Where is the paper trail that the meticulous Nazi bureaucracy would have certainly created? The Nazi UFO myth teaches us how easily fiction can be woven into history, especially when dealing with a period as dark and complex as World War II. It shows how our desire for sensational stories can override our commitment to truth. And it reminds us that real history is often more fascinating than the myths we create. The Nazis were responsible for horrific crimes against humanity and brought catastrophic war to the world. Their actual technological achievements, while significant, were ultimately put in service of evil. We don't need to invent fictional superweapons to make their story more dramatic. The historical reality is compelling and important enough. The truth matters even when the myth is more entertaining.